today, I'll be undertaking the highest risk challenge that I've ever undertaken with Search4Hurt. The chance of personal injury is pretty high, and the athlete I'm training with knows all too well how dangerous his sport can be. So I have to be on my A game while learning what it takes to be a world-class moto endurance rider with Dakar Rally racer Toby Price.
Toby Price is an Australian off-road motorcycle racer from Singleton, New South Wales. Raised by a family that loves their motorsport, Toby started riding motorbikes at just 2 years of age, and from the age of 4, started a race career that's seen him win numerous state and national junior motocross titles. With his motocross career plagued with injuries, Toby made the switch to off-road endurance riding, and in 2009 won his first attempt at the Australian off-road titles. Since then, Toby has won almost every major endurance event in Australia, and most of these wins were achieved on his first attempt. This led him to representing Australia in enduro riding in 2011. His success in desert races like the Fink led to him being headhunted for the biggest stage of all, the Dakar Rally, where once again Toby defied all the odds, covering an incredible 9,295 kilometres over 2 weeks through Argentina, Chile and Bolivia. Price clawed his way onto the podium, achieving 3rd place in the legendary Dakar Rally. With this feat, Toby became just the 2nd Aussie in history to make the podium of this epic race. Today, we put Matt Murphy up to the challenge of keeping up with this motorsport legend.
I've headed up to Maitland, northwest of Newcastle, where endurance motorcycle racer Toby Price has invited me to his home to give me an insight into what training and preparation he goes through to prepare to be one of the best enduro motorcyclists in Australia. The first thing that I noticed stepping into Toby's garage is he loves his toys and seems to have a passion for any sport of the extreme variety. I also notice he has his fair share of trophies and silverware. Thanks for having us, man.
No worries, appreciate it.
So before we get too far into the story of Toby Price, I can see 2 KTMs on the back of the Mitsubishi. So what's the plan for the day?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of bikes loaded up. To start off with, we're going to just do a bit of strength and conditioning here in the shed. And then we'll head across into Newcastle, get some mountain biking done. Today we'll come to your challenge at the end of the day, and we'll put you through your paces on the KTM and see how we go. We'll get you over some logs and some rocks and climb some hills.
I've had a few experiences with riding a motorbike in the past, and I'm confident enough with the basics. However, my skill sets pretty much stop at remaining upright. I think I'm going to be well out of my depth when Toby takes me through some of the more technical aspects. But before we take to the bush, I want to get an understanding of how Toby trains for such an event like the Dakar Rally, and how he tailors his training to be on the bike for 14 days straight and to cover over 9,000 kilometres in that time.
All I knew was it was going to be 14 days on the bike, so I just spent a lot of time on the bike. I was actually in America and pretty much I was there for a month, and I rode a bike every day for the month, where I work on sprint laps where the heart rate just goes through the roof, where it just spikes, and then where I went and done like an hour moto where pretty much the bike ran out of fuel.
Toby had entered the Dakar knowing very little about what to expect within the race and the wide spectrum of different race conditions that he'd be forced to endure.
Like I say, I didn't know what to expect for this Dakar race. I was just coming in pretty much full blind, so I knew it was going to be hot the majority of the days over there, but there was going to be like a few good days where it was going to be really cold, where it was like minus 12 degrees. I got back here to Australia, I think I weighed myself and I was just about 8 or almost 8 kilos lighter. It just physically drained you, mentally drained you.
I've done my fair share of endurance events, and although the method of Dakar is different from a triathlon or ultramarathon, The principle behind the event is the same. How far can you go? How fast can you do it? And how are you going to keep yourself going? What are you fueling your body with? And how, I guess, are you staying hydrated as well?
Yeah, so then we carry, like I say, a Camelback full of all liquid, electrolytes, and just making sure you just drink that all the time and just trying to keep your fluids up, so yeah, you don't dehydrate. Pretty much you're eating as much as you possibly can till you're at the limit where you're going to be nearly sick, but by the next day you come back in and you're starving, you're hungry again.
You said you lost 8 kilos in 14 days.
Yeah, that's it. I've never eaten so much food in my life over there, and I lost 8 kilos.
When we return, Toby takes Matt through some strength and conditioning work before they hit the tracks for some mountain biking.
I'm in Maitland, training with Toby Price, one of the world's best moto endurance riders. Toby has showed me some of the finer points to his race preparation. Now it's time to get into the strength and conditioning.
All right, Matt, so yeah, we'll just take you through a few things that we start off with. This is just a bit of maintenance stuff that we're going to get into that basically will lead into going out on the bike later this afternoon.
He starts off every session with a full body warm-up, including 5 minutes on the rower. The 2015 Dakar Rally was made up of 414 vehicles, with cars, quad bikes and trucks, but the majority of those being motorbikes, with 164 riders, and arguably the most physically demanding of all of the vehicles.
All right, now Matt, now we've all warmed up, ready to go. Yeah, we'll just go into a bit of light weight stuff. So with racing bikes, you don't really lift massive, big, heavy weights. We're just trying to get muscle endurance, because with all the racing we do is really like long distance, so anywhere from an hour's worth of riding to maybe 4 hours worth of riding, whereas Dakar's like 12, 13, 14 hours of riding.
The first exercise I do is chest flyers on the Swiss ball, moving up through all of the weights, completing 10 to 12 reps of each weight. And then returning back down through each weight with the same rep scheme. I know the pain of low weight, high rep exercises like this, and it's not really a pain I look forward to. First set done, and with a decent rest period, I think I'll get through this just fine. All right, what's our rest?
So normally just rest for like 15 seconds.
Is that it?
Yeah, and then we into the next one.
All right,
yep.
Let's go. I don't even know if I'll be able to fly these. That's not a good sign.
That's not good.
For when we're going riding. So you'll do 10 to 12 of each with 15 seconds rest, so you're doing about 70 to 80 reps with only 15 seconds recovery.
Yep.
Man, these ones are heavy. I can...
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need a spotter for these.
Yep. All right.
I'm definitely starting to feel the burn, and I've got a long day in front of me. My only concern at this point is I'm going to be hopping on an extremely powerful motorbike under extreme fatigue.
Where are we at to?
Fail stage?
Fail stage?
I got one more in me.
One more in you? Righto.
I only managed to get 6 reps out on the heaviest weight, and now I've got to go back down the weights. I've completed the flies, and I can finally give my chest a break.
All right, now that we're off the weights a bit, we're going to move on to a bit of core strength. So like I say, being on the ball, you also get a bit of core strength off that as well. But this here, we'll go into a side plank for a minute, like normal plank for a minute, and up onto another side plank for another minute. So
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
In my experience, 3 minutes of planks is pretty brutal.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
1 minute. Only seconds into the side plank, and my shoulders are screaming at me. And you do this, what, a couple of days a week, something like this?
Yeah, normally try and do it like 2-3 days a week. And then yeah, I'll do this for the 3 minutes, and here I'll have like a minute break.
It's obvious that Toby does a lot of this conditioning. His form is spot on. Listen to you talking and I'm starting to struggle. Whereas I'm starting to get a bit of the shakes. So middle plank. We move on to the middle plank. And my shoulders get a little bit of rest.
Thanks.
Oh, that's nice now.
But yeah, most people don't realise, they just think it's, get on a bike, sit there, turn the throttle and hang on and ride, and that's about it. So it's, but it's a lot of work goes in behind the scenes. Ooh.
And you do this sort of stuff when you're on the road as well?
Yeah, so these are like the things you can, you don't need equipment to do.
I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed how casually Toby's moving through these.
Having a bit of fun. Yeah, you got to keep the training up. So.
Oh, tell me that tip. Oh. And then how long would you rest?
So you rest for a minute and we go again.
So after the quickest rest minute of my life, we go again.
And go for it. Right. Yeah. Next lot through. When you're doing 160, 70 kilometres an hour and the bike's trying to get out of shape on you, your core strength comes in pretty good handy to keep that bike back and get back in line and keep going.
At a certain point, I couldn't take it.
We're about 100 tapped out.
We've completed the strength and conditioning component for today. But before we go out mountain biking, Toby wants to show me one more specific exercise.
Pretty much to finish up, bit of forearm strength. So it's renowned for us, we call it arm pump.
Arm pump is a condition that riders of all sports can experience, caused by the constant forearm effort of gripping the handlebars. The muscles are bundled up in a strong, thin membrane called the fascia.
Here in your forearms, just pretty much blow up. Then it just feels like you can't even feel the bars, you can't hang on.
Some riders even go as far as getting an operation to cut the fascia to release the tension. But Toby uses a preventative exercise with a specialised tool.
This is just something I use, pretty much put it on and then just, flip over and then just do 15 of these on each side.
It doesn't take long before I can feel the impact that it has on my forearms. And considering arm pump affects the most important part of contact with the motorbike, I for one will be paying special attention to this exercise in particular.
Cool, all right Matt, well that's pretty much a little bit of an example to what we do here at the shed, just to maintain a bit of fitness, a bit of strength. Yeah, I think it's now time to get out on the bikes and head out. We'll get on the mountain bike, get into it, and then we'll finish the day off, and that's where the hurt will really come into play, and get on the bikes and do a bit of dirt squirt and a bit of roosting, and we'll be good to go.
Up next, Toby and Matt hit the Glenrock mountain bike track.
I'm in Maitland with Toby Price, one of the world's best endurance motorbike riders. He's taken me through his strength and conditioning routine, and now it's time to leave the shed and jump onto the mountain bikes. But there's one thing that I noticed between his collection of toys and trophies that I just had to ask about. This has got a bit of history behind it.
It does, we're going to take you out today, but we won't get you in one of these things, that's for sure.
Toby had travelled to the States to train for the Baja 500. During a training event, Toby had an accident. But unlike beforehand, the injuries this time were on a whole nother level.
You had a really decent get off and ended up getting put into this thing. I broke 3 vertebrae in my neck, and so now I've got it's like some eight screws and 3 bits of rod and everything in there. That'll do it.
Going through such a traumatic accident would make any individual think long and hard about their career and ultimately their mortality.
Yeah, it's a bit daunting. I kind of sat at home a little bit that I didn't know if I was going to come back to racing bikes, let alone going back to living just a normal life. And this has been a pretty serious injury. It definitely would play on your mind a little bit. And after a little bit, you think about it. You just think, it's another challenge. And then I was like, I want to get back on a bike and start racing again. And then a year and a half later, we ended up going for Dakar. And then this is pretty much my prize possession trophy now. Like, it's 2 ever Aussies to podium at Dakar, and to come from that to then ended up being here in a 3rd place is just mind-blowing.
And for Toby to turn his fortunes around after such a major injury is truly impressive. He's had a long list of honours and achievements over his career. The only other list that comes close to it is his list of injuries.
The list of injuries for me is I broke 3 vertebrae in my neck, I broke my nose, broke my sternum. I broke this wrist 4 times. I broke this wrist 3 times. Broke ribs. Broke my femur. I broke toes. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. It's all tallies up pretty quick.
It's time to head out to the Glenrock track and get out on the mountain bike.
I like a lot of mountain biking. It's pretty similar to what we do with racing dirt bikes in the bush and in the scrub. So you're on dirt, you're in the trees, in the mix of everything. So it just kind of keeps all your reflexes back up to scratch and just tries to make you process things quick. And yeah, if you get some good downhill stuff, yeah, you gotta hook in and have a crack.
Toby utilises the mountain bike to build up his endurance fitness in the lead up to an event like the Dakar.
Yeah, it's low impact on all the joints and things like that, and yeah, it's just a lot easier on the body, and like I say, it's just a lot of fun. It's just similar to what you're going to be doing on a dirt bike.
I'm confident on the mountain bike, which is a lot more than I can say with how I feel about hopping on the motorbike later. So for now, it's all about having fun. I can understand why Toby likes to use the mountain bike, to work on focus at speed, and to negotiate the changing terrain. Losing that focus just for a second could be dire. But it could be 10 times worse on a motorbike, going 10 times the speed. Well, only one crash.
One little crash.
I've been training with Toby Price. We've just finished up on the mountain bikes at Glenrock. We're headed out to the backcountry of Curry, where I'm taking on the challenge of trying to cross some tough terrain, just like one might expect to find in an event like the Dakar Rally.
Yeah, so we've just pulled up. There's pretty much one spot I go riding, over the back of Curry a little bit. So we've got a couple of good hill climbs over here, a few trees down, and we'll wing it and we'll see how we go. We'll
see how we go, see if I can learn to ride a bike. We unload the bikes and start to get all of our protective armour on. Any nerves I was feeling earlier have just doubled. Even with all the protective gear, still makes me realise I'm pretty much a novice at this kind of thing. I've been injured more than once on my Search4Hurt adventures, but the potential injuries here are on a whole nother level. Lucky, I've got a good insurance policy. I go for a short little lap to get comfortable on the bike. And then Toby goes on the same loop directly after me. I've been psyching myself up all day for this, but one thing that I didn't consider would have such an effect on me was my adrenaline. Moving so fast across the terrain jacks the heart rate. When you're traveling at 20 to 30 meters every second, the idea of working on your focus on the mountain bike makes a hell of a lot of sense. We ride around a bit together just to make sure we're both aware of each other's ability. And Toby's ability is pretty obvious. Toby's happy at where my riding's at, he takes me over to a large log. And the technicality of this challenge just went up a notch.
With riding enduro and desert and off-road scene and everything, yeah, we don't always get a clean, good, smooth track. So it's, we come across obstacles like this, logs, rocks and anything like this. So we'll, bit of a challenge for you now. We'll get you across this and we'll see how you go. It's just pretty much, yeah, it's all just come in at a good, smooth pace and just getting your front wheel to lob up on the top of this log and basically just keeping the gas on, don't shut off, but just be smooth on it, but don't hit a whole heap of throttle to get over it. So just try and get a bit of momentum and let the momentum carry you over it. So we'll, yeah.
Might get the camera guys to step back.
I think we'll get them to step back a little bit.
Yeah. Not fast enough, and I won't have enough momentum to simply get my bike over the log. Too much throttle, and I'll more than likely end up losing control. Just like I did on the mountain bikes. Here I go. I think I might need to give it just a little more throttle. Attempt number 2. And it was a little bit smoother than my first attempt, but there's still plenty of room for improvement. After shifting my weight back and forth over the log, all of the upper body and core work that Toby took me through earlier in the day seems pretty relevant. So now that we've done the log, he sort of showed me a few things there. We're going to head up to a decent sized hill up here. It looks decently steep, but yeah, I think with Toby's guidance, should go all right.
We found a little bit of a hill for you. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, so we're another challenge apart from the log. So I'll go up, I'll show you how it's done. I'll get to a point up there on top of that hill, and then basically, yeah, you just try
Gotta get there
and make your way up. The more you're on your feet, the better you can move around, let the bike do what it needs to do, and then just be smooth with the throttle, you'll get to the top.
Okay.
We'll see you up there.
Show us how it's done.
All right.
If you had have blinked, you would have missed it. Toby climbed the hill in no time at all. Dare say my attempt might look a little bit different. And I'm off. Slow and steady, but I'm climbing the hill nonetheless. And apart from being a little rocky here and there, I think I do okay. I have a few more goes at it, paying attention to what Toby said about standing up and letting the bike move from under me. It's really fun, but I don't think I'll be winning any races anytime soon. So I come to the end of another chapter in my search for Hurt, and I'm left with a lasting impression of how hard an endurance motorcycle racer needs to train.
The last one there, you got a little bit of air and yeah, the feet were off a little bit, so it's made it interesting for you. It's,
I was starting to get a bit concerned.
It's deceiving. On the camera, that'll look like it's pretty much nothing, but that's a pretty steep hill. So it's good job, good effort, and that was a good afternoon on the bike.
Although I had a wobbly moment on the mountain bike, I managed to stay up on the moto, and I gained a little confidence in riding over challenging terrain. All as I can say is Toby Price is an absolute weapon.